Oh, hello there. This is Louis, aka Louis the French Mounette, and you're watching Schmoedown Night in Canada. With me, resident boy, not too far from where I live. It's Mr. Dan. How are you doing today?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm pretty good. Ready to talk about it with Schmoedown, sir.
Yep.
All right. So before we start, if this is the first time you're listening on to Schmoes in the North, look, we have a lot of stuff. We cover match per match. So if you have a favorite match, you want to really dive deep into it, go look at that. If not, we have Norton Consultations, and that is interviews with Schmoedown personalities and the inside people of Schmoedown. It's very interesting. We got a big catalog building up right now, so go look at the playlist. There's at least one of them, I'm sure, that's going to fancy you. Anyways, that being said, don't forget to subscribe, click that notification button. Hell, just give us a like. Anything we're going to take. Okay, well, let's start, Dan.
Yes.
What we're talking today is Adam Collins versus Lon Harris. We got Zipper versus Urin, and big drop team tourney information. All right, let's go in with Adam Collins versus Lon Harris. Right off the bat, gut feeling. You don't know what's gonna happen. Who you're taking?
I mean, I I really didn't know in this match because I've been rooting for Lon Harris to make that next step, and he really has in a lot of
Hmm.
aspects of the game. And and then Adam Collins is just such a rising star that it was hard to ignore. And then after our interview with him, which I wish was like 3 days later, because that correction bit is the funniest thing
Awesome.
I've ever seen.
It's
And I
awesome.
wish I could have talked about it in our interview, but alas, it was such a hard pick for me. I could not even make one in this match.
Yeah, you see, as much as I love Lon Harris, I kept flipping, but at the end of the day, something special Adam Collins. To think that he was even drafted, he was a free agent, right? Like, how
Mm.
did he pass under the radars? It's ridiculous. Now, Adam Collins, again, has that same feel I had when I saw Ace win for the first time, right? There's something different. Collins, there's
Mhm.
nothing to compare him with unless you go into the other leagues. But just as a whole, there's nothing to compare. Like, oh, he did bad, now he's doing good. You can see the change, but there's a twinkle in his eyes that a champion or someone who's like really ready to go and get that belt, or at least try to get that belt, has. And he's not he's proving me right. There is something to say about the hunger one has. And Adam Collins, as much as he's very, stoic a bit, he is hungry and he has a lot to prove. And I think he wants to really be the rising superstar of corruption, right? Because already it's a full stack. You got really amazing players, but
Mhm.
he might secure a signing next year if he continues doing that, what he's doing, right? And Lon Harris, he's a really good player. He found himself with Paulo Yama, but
Mhm.
that's the thing. He is, more and more I see, he is a teams player. You put him out, you get circumstances like this match. Lon
Mhm.
Harris is not a pushover, but Adam Collins had no problem, and the KO happened. And it goes to show that Lon Harris needs an equation on its own. It doesn't
Mhm.
always work.
And I think we'll see in the teams tournament. Final exam has an interesting chemistry that seems to work perfectly, and
Hmm.
um, I think this could have been a very different season for Lon if it was in studio, because Lon excels when he's having fun, when he's playing the character, which he was very good. I heard this interview with him, and about talking, he was very good at the beginning, and it's because he was having a lot of fun playing the professor, right? And being that character. And once it became a chore and to come up with quips and to make things up in that character, that's when he started to decline. And I feel he was having such fun, and it's very hard to do that in the digital format. Even though the fans are loving his character work, he has no immediate feedback on it. And I feel that can hurt a lot of the character players.
Yeah, you're right, but I think Harloff kind of like lets them know if it's working or not. The like on reactions, he does polls all the time. He makes sure that the people are heard, right? If a bit like in WWE, you back in the
Yeah.
day, you would Mick McMahon would go with what the people would be booing or cheering. You don't have that in Schmoedown. What you have is a very loud community. So I'm sure he can still base it off of that. And I really hope he continues being the delinquent. Because as much as I like his professor, I understand why he was having trouble, because it was almost of a gimmick at one point. And it wasn't suiting him as well. With the delinquent, how like green screen is, he needs a green screen. He needs to put background of Nepal one day. Next thing you know, he's in Australia, and next thing you know, he's just in a dumpster somewhere. He can play a lot with that, so I'm not afraid. I don't think it does that much of. Actually, I think it's in the service of the delinquent to be on cam than in the studio. Personally,
I agree with that. Like, there are things you can do with it. I just think it's very hard to you notice with like comedy, some people have done this like virtual thing, and a lot of comedians have stayed away from it because it's hard to tell a joke or be a character and have only two people to play off in Mark and Christian, and you don't have even the little studio audience and the couple laughs you can get from them, and even the boos, the jeers, all of that, it does add to certain players like fortitude in the game. And we've noticed it a little bit. I think, like, I have theories that the virtual system has affected some players, and it's not the
but
ones
but
you would
but then again, it could be
think. It's
Schmoeminati, right?
actually the ones that have been here all along. Well, we'll talk about Schmoeminati in the next match because I have some things to talk about here. Okay, we should get
Okay,
into
okay.
this match though.
Well,
um,
just before we go into that match, Dan, I want to go in the future for Mr. Collins. He's facing this is no slouch here. I'm not saying Long Harris is a slouch, but now you're going into the higher grade players, the proven players, right? That they really made a name. They went from C-lister to A-lister, and that is Meyer, the kid. Now,
yeah, this is going to be a very tough opponent for him.
really is, right? But is Collins on a roll so much that he really has a chance to really beat him, or are you seeing down to the wire if he does beat him?
See, I do think Adam Collins is on a roll. The problem is, so is Brendan. Like, if you've seen him in the Shazam matches and his 2 tournament matches, he is on fire just as much, and these guys are gonna collide into each other, and that is a very hotly anticipated match. But I do want to talk about him in this previous match. 7-for-7 in the first round, and both of them missing one question, which is typical of high caliber players. Collins spins Tim Burton, and it kind of seemed like Shannon wanted to like steer him away from it, but he just kind of decided to take it. It seemed like it was a struggle and like a decision, and like, okay, we'll take it because there are worse things on the wheel. And then he goes perfect. And I was amazed.
Yeah, there's something like usually you have to go with the manager but sometimes if your instinct, that voice, right, saying take it, That's certain
Mm.
players, they kind of ignore that voice and like, damn it, I should have took it. Adam Collins' experience in the past really serves him because he's been in this social situations probably, right? He's
Mhm.
been this is not new to him to be like evaluating the percentages almost of what you can get or what can is there 3-4 categories they can probably steal on, or you can see he has that logic already, and that
Mhm.
right there is definitely a bonus, definitely a step up than certain competitors that had to acquire that while starting in Schmoedown. He's
Mhm.
got a couple of years back of experience in that. So you can see Chance has the same capacity. So
Yeah, I was
there is
gonna say
something to say.
him, Oyama as well. It's the student of the game versus the like vast film knowledge, right?
It,
Like,
it's why I call book smarts versus street smarts in Schmoedown. Yeah.
yeah, and Bibiani would be book smarts, and Brendan the Kid Meyer is street smarts. Like,
Actually,
that's why
we had
Shazam is a successful team.
on if you haven't seen Northern Consultations with Brendan Meyer, he's actually more of a book smarts, and we actually call him a book smart Frankenstein because he has a lot of general knowledge. He does study, but his general knowledge is
Mm.
much more closer than book smarts. But what he does is he takes the best parts of all the players he likes, their strategies, the way they do things. So finally, we came to the conclusion he's a book smart Frankenstein player that will really try to emulate strategies used from other players and accumulate it into his own style, which is interesting. And that's what makes Meyer
Yeah.
really, really dangerous because as much as Collins is, calculated and he has a lot of experience, Brendan Meyer seems to be that like ADD kid who always has original ideas or like outside the box and would always do amazing things. He is creative. He is strategic in his own way, and
Mhm.
very. I would call it like a high IQ in Schmoedown play, right? So it's a toss of the coin. If I would have to choose right now, Collins. You?
I'm I'm gonna pick Collins as well. Um, I do think that while he still hasn't seen the third round, um,
Mm-hmm.
he does seem to have a vast enough knowledge because I mean this round he steals all three questions that Lon misses in the second round and wins by knockout. Like he does Tim Burton, he does horror, he's done a multitude of categories throughout his other
Mm-hmm.
matches. He seems to be like, he seems to have a good enough knowledge to bring himself through this. And really, it depends on how well he studies his opponent. And that is one thing we know Adam Collins does.
Yeah, really. It's gonna be. He's frightening already too, right? He already has all that. Plus, he can evolve, especially with a manager in his background like Shannon. I gotta respect. I don't like her,
Mm.
not her personally. I don't like her character. It's definitely
uh,
not my cup of tea. I
you just
just
haven't seen the light yet. That's all.
I've seen the light, and it's not a UV light. She's a UV light, my friend. All right, so let's go on to the next match.
Yeah.
Okay, Zipper versus Ethan, big time Irwin.
Mm.
Now, I don't know if you saw last time. I believe, with I'm not even sure who. I think it's Dave. I have memory problems. Fuck my life. But yeah, I was saying do not count Zipper out. Uh, Something kind of clicked. I know Dave has been on the Zipper bandwagon for a long time. I like the kid, but he's like, he said himself, B player, B player. But since his first match in the tournament, something really clicked in my head. He's not a B player. He's just a player that needs to get out of his head and have a bit more hunger and something about writing the dungeon writing on his shoulders might actually push him to really evolve into something else. Yeah, I mean, Irwin is Goliath. He is,
Yeah.
there's Murrow, and then for me, Murrow, Irwin, right? So it's not an easy task. A lot of people would have been like, "Well, good luck to me." Fuck my no. Zipper's like, "We're doing this. I don't care. Everyone underestimate me. Please do."
Mm.
And I was actually rooting for Zipper.
I I was rooting for Irwin. I had him going into the match just based on like his his two matches against Roca and against Murrell. Like
Mm,
those were some of the best matches that we have seen, and um, I did think that just like the dungeon having to rely on Zipper, the suspects have to rely on Irwin.
yeah.
And if you're going to, if there was only one like player per faction going into the tournament, I, no offense to Eric Zipper, but I would rather put in Ethan Irwin.
No,
If
for sure. It, it it's they're not even a different caliber in sorts, right? Just like the proven history. Look at how
mm,
many matches he's played 11, now 12, 5, if not mistaken, right? Zipper's like a 2-1. And he's very like so vast. It's like opponent's choice is like what you give him,
mhm,
he's that dangerous. And Zipper has his really big strengths and really big flaws. So for that kind of player that it's more relying on maybe 2-3 slices compared to all the wheel is you're going to get probably more than half or at least minimum half, and there's certain slices as well. Good luck to you, you're done.
mm,
So that kind of player is hard to put up a fight, but a bit of luck, a bit of determination, and some good prep will give you Zipper's performance. He was so close. Not in the same caliber again as Irwin, but sometimes it's not always about the caliber, is about where you're at that moment. And Zipper was at a right moment, just a bit of bad luck.
mm. Just a little bit shy. One question, and it was sudden death. But I do want to like push back on that last point a bit. I think players that have those big strengths, and even if you have a large weakness the same size, you the way the game is played these days, you can shore that weakness up like piece by piece, wedge by
Mhm.
wedge, slice by slice, while maintaining your true strengths. Whereas a general knowledge player is just working off of like a
Mhm.
lot of different things that you know, every movie that you've seen, but not necessarily like you, if you have weaknesses, you're striving to get rid of them. And if you're good at, or generally good at every category, you're more lax on your deep dives into them.
Yeah, but yes, but then you got players like Schneider's like, I don't prep. And he knows like there's a categories he sucks at, right? He's not gonna make the effort to actually get better. If he gets it, it's like, oh fuck my life. But he doesn't make a point to actually progress. He just goes with his knowledge, but it's working. Who
Yeah,
who
I can't talk about Jeff Snyder. He's an anomaly in the Schmoedown.
he's an anomaly in life.
He came from season 2 and he's still playing in season 2, and yet it might have been season 3, but yeah, either way, he just is such a strange character. And also, if all of that is true and he's not actually studying, and like I'm sure he's watching movies, and even watching movies he wouldn't generally watch for fun, he's watching a movie because it might come up. And like i I know there's a difference between that and like really studying like the Ben Bateman style of measuring up your opponent and strategizing and all of that. But it's still studying. I can't
But
say he doesn't study. You would have to not watch movies.
but that's the thing. That's where I separate. Like I'm gonna repeat it until Harloff actually makes it a fucking thing. But this is where like that kind of studying is what I call book smart studying. Okay, it's what I call just watching movies, retaining it, and associating some stuff. But that's it. Not going into charts and cards and the music and this and relating to.
Mhm.
There's no like binders and walls filled of like you almost went nuts, crazy people notes on a with billboards and shit. Those are just people who watch movies, study the movies while they're watching, and that's it. And then you got the street
Yeah.
smarts, the people who go flash round cards and stuff like that. And yes, will watch movies, but they will have general knowledge on like just a poster or just the trailer, never seeing the movie, but then okay, a potential of two actresses, chance that I will see this one. Yeah, got it. That's street smarts to me.
Yeah. And I guess Jeff is a little bit of he has book smarts on things that he doesn't watch because his job is also to interview people who are in popular movies, so he doesn't even have to watch it to know all of the stars and the director and the score and this and that, because he needs to write an article about it at some point. Like it helps him that it is both his like passion and his work to know these things, and that's why he doesn't need to pull out flashcards, because he writes articles on all the actors.
But again, how far would that bring you, right? Especially the more you advance, the more
Yeah.
you get, the more you get like
I mean,
questions. You really have to really dive.
yeah,
All right, so
true.
look,
But if you're writing an article on, say, Angelina Jolie, you're gonna go look up if she's been nominated for awards. You're gonna list that in an article. You're gonna list other starring movies. Like you pick up all of these things and then associate them with a particular action, which I'm sure is Jeff's secret weapon, is that he researches all of these people when he's doing his work, and that associates to a thing that he did, which was also writing, which is perfect for the Schmoedown.
no,
But
for sure.
we should move off of Jeff Snyder for a minute.
I was gonna say, yeah, exactly. Let's actually dive into Erwin versus Tom. Now,
Yeah.
straight off the bat, I say Erwin. I like Tom, but he's not impressing me that much this year. He's good. Without Drew, I think there's something missing. I still think they should be reunited next year. I hope someone tries, because Tom is not the best singles player. He's good, but I don't think he's going to make far. In teams, still has to be seen. But Paul Preston is not, riding high right now. Chemistry wise, if it doesn't work this time, it might never work. So Tom is good. Erwin is a legend right now in my eyes. And if Tom can definitely upset, but Erwin is at a point that, you really, really got to give him opponent's choice into something he doesn't know or get lucky. It was not a bad strategy. What what the Zipper did, but really a lot of research is needed on this guy to beat him. And I don't think Tom and Kane and everyone has that kind of like, not like ways of doing, right? They'll just hope for the best, train a bit, and that's it. To beat Erwin, you need a strategist, and you really almost need like your own crew studying the guy and making sure, like, oh, he missed this question. We put all in rows. He's not good in this category. You almost need that because,
like I would hope for Tom's sake that he is good in both animated movies and like Disney Pixar, and you put both of those slices up on the wheel and you hope and you pray. But the speaking of Disney and Pixar, and I mentioned the Schmoeminati earlier, they might take out Ethan Erwin next round, because he was only one question away from the trifecta. In round 3, he got Disney, and then he got animated, and I was expecting a 5 point Pixar question. I was on the edge of my seat waiting for that to come up, and they didn't get him this time, but they know
Okay,
he's teamed up with Andrew Guy now, and the Schmoeminati is after Ethan Irwin. I would
you know,
watch his back.
you know that crazy guy in the street you talk to, and he's like, he sees numbers everywhere. He's like, I'm the 23rd of September, and I'm near the 23rd of street of this on the 23rd building. I'm gonna die, but it's like it's just a coincidence. That Schmoeminati does not exist. This is a fabricated lie. I almost feel like you are they paid you, whoever they is, right? Schmoeminati. Ooh. But no, man. It just happens to be, and it showed Irwin he has been working his weaknesses, and let's say Schmoeminati throws all the freaking weaknesses. Something scary, but Irwin, he's evolving. Already he was, you had a freaking Charizard, but now you gave him an evolved stone. He becomes a mega Charizard. You're like, good luck to you. He was scary enough before. And Schmoeminati or not, it's not going to matter. Tom, I don't see him going past, and I don't see Schmoeminati actually doing a difference if it does exist. Irwin's gonna pass.
I know someone in the Schmoeminati, so I know it exists. That's all I'll say.
But do they have any power? It's like I can be named, the coalition of awesome, sexy people does not make me awesome and sexy, right? Uh, so look, yeah, you can know someone of the Schmoeminati, but I really don't think they actually have an impact on the game. I just think they're, a distraction, fugazi, right? Just to add storyline. Nothing's happening.
Why did Matt actually challenge his own win? That's the question.
Because he didn't watch enough Schmoedown, that's why. And he's too good of a guy, and he had no manager, because if there's a manager, he would have got a chair thrown at him, okay? That's
You know
why.
who got a chair thrown at him? Andrew Guy, Schmoeminati. Okay. You're Schmoeminati. Why did you choose chair of all things? Oh, okay.
You know,
I gotta
uh,
I gotta move on from this. We
okay,
have
please.
big news actually.
Yes, let me pull that on my side. We're not gonna put on
I
the screen. We're just gonna put it
Yeah,
on
me
our
too.
screens.
Yeah, we
All
have
right.
the teams tournament is starting
Ooh,
November 2nd, which I actually thought it was going to be a little bit earlier. It seems we're going to get some extra matches maybe, and those will be fun. We have a horror free for all as well coming in October.
definitely, yeah. Which I'm I'm happy, because at least we're gonna get a free for all. Oh, I would have hoped maybe for a smaller free for all, not like a themed free for all, to be honest with you, because that kind of limits, right? I want to see just a whole left and right of types of players, not just one
Mm,
type. But hey, at least they're trying something interesting. It can be awesome for all I know, but I don't see a Bibiani doing extraordinary things, or I don't see like those kind of like moments, right, with a specific category for
mm,
the team's term. Whew, okay, this is a
yeah.
lot. This is a lot to digest, man. If there was one match, like of all matches, nothing is stopping you, which one are you choosing?
Oh wow. I mean, I gotta go with my team, corruption, and I mean a brand new team of Adam Collins and Marisol McKee going up against Andrew Guy and Ethan Irwin,
Hmm,
and it that just sounds insane. It's two rookies going up against Andrew Guy, the greatest personality and character in the Schmoedown, and Ethan Irwin, what you called the second best player. And it's just like, oh, oh, I feel for them, but that is must watch because I need to root them on.
no, for sure. It's how can I say this? Like, McKee impressed me. Collins is right now on fire. It's going to be seen if they're able to be a teams, right? But if they are, uh, they might complement each other in ways we didn't know we needed, right?
Mm,
But we definitely, I want to see new teams rise up, and it's just logical. And it's my same pick, by the way, for the match I
sure.
have to see. It's exactly the same thing because that is a matchup that could really bust brackets. I mean,
Mm,
Eden Irwin is good, but again, this is a new team. They're both in the same boat, right? They haven't played with their partners yet. It's not like Irwin had an established team, which is this one. No, he's back to square one. You can
mm,
be as good as you want if your partner is not supporting you, like the other partner supporting your nemesis, right? It doesn't work. You can't paddle too much on one side. You spin around. Now, it it is to be seen to see if their weaknesses and their strengths balance out.
mhm,
Okay, that's the equation with teams. It does it balance out. I say yes for Guy and Irwin because Irwin is similar. He's bigger in you know everything like the Godfather, but he has the strengths too. And Guy is good at what he's good, but he sucks what he doesn't know. Collins and McKee is the real unknown factor because we saw a bit of them, but we still don't know their
mhm.
full, catalog of their strengths and weaknesses. So this is where we're really going to see who's good at what and who can complement.
Yeah, I'm very interested for that, like showcasing new players and people like rookie players in this tournament. If they manage to pull off a win or two, they will easily make stars of themselves, and then Shannon is kind of screwed next season because she'll have 5 players she wants to keep and only 3 spots to put them in.
Yeah, man.
And that's going to be rough. But speaking of not rookie players, because most of them are players, Jader is a rookie, though,
Yep.
I think. Yeah.
Well,
Um, and other than Founding Fathers and Odd Couple, every one of these teams was formed this year, and several were formed now, which we should probably run through what those are.
before we do, yeah, but we're
Yeah.
gonna talk about one specific one thing. I'm scratching my head. Maybe I'm missing something. I'm not always listening to backstage right now. Why are you putting the witching power when you have Shazam?
Shazam is going for the title against corruption on
Okay,
October 16th, and they're excluded from the tournament.
oh, that's why. Well, dummy, you dummy. But okay, all right. So yeah, let's go have a breakdown right now. I actually want to start with my least
Well,
excited.
we should start with that one because they play the Founding Fathers. It's the top seed versus bottom seed. We got a play-in match. Witching Power is who is it? Haley Fouch and Perry Nemiroff, who are great friends, and they're I I'm worried that their strengths are too much overlapping,
Yeah,
but they could surprise me. Like they could have their own niche things that we're gonna see get showcased when they get those tough questions.
but this is a type of team that are so niche that you really have to have their stars aligned, and those you can have a surprise, right? Especially, it's not like the Odd Couple or Founding Fathers. It's another team that still has to prove themselves, right? So they have a
Mm,
more of a shot. But that kind of team, honestly, when they overlap, has no staying power in the long run, especially in a tournament because you can get lucky just so many times until your luck goes fuck you, so
yeah.
it's not a proven combination and I don't think it's going to work. uh but on the flip side, you got misfits who are let me see, yes, Wit and Zip.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're an interesting team. Like
yeah.
I I don't even know what to make of that team because it could there again, it could be the same thing that their interests just overlap too much. They're both kind of into the geeky nerd sort of
Mm.
movies, but I know they're both very strong players in their own right. And we haven't seen Adam Witt in singles this year, but I think he was supposed to play. And that would have made him a 3 league player as well as Zipper and just a different third league.
Me personally, I'm sorry, Zip. This is gonna be a hot mess. This is gonna be a hot mess. Um, Especially Kaiser is kind of probably be a bit desperate here. He needs
Mm.
something. Like I just want to give him a hug at one point. He really needs something. But I think this is gonna be a hot mess because Wit, he's an entertaining player. He's a surprisingly good Star Wars player. But if you couldn't do it with Paul Preston, I don't think you can do it, Zip.
I mean, yeah, I'm not really sure we can say that. Like Paul Preston has done well, but it's not like he has the greatest record in singles on his own. Like he's he's a great player, but I think Adam Witt is just in a way just not being asked the right questions. Like
Hmm.
it's he definitely has the movie knowledge and he displays that whenever like you speak to him on a regular basis. And like I don't know. I think this team can just kind of take it. And I don't know how they stack up against the founding fathers, but I think they have a good chance against the witching power here.
All right. Yeah, they definitely do. It's play-ins, right? So we'll
Mm.
see what happens. Now we are running a bit out of time. That being said, is there I know you were complaining a bit about the names. You weren't that happy with it. Is there is there a name that you just cannot get on, like even less near ones you cannot get on board with?
Um, I'm actually not a big fan of the Misfits as a name
Mm.
because I feel there was already a team in the Schmoedown named the Misfits.
Yeah, it wasn't Jay Washington's
I'm not sure. It
like
was
the
either a
original one, right?
team. It was either a team on his faction on his Viper squad, or it was a faction name in itself. But um, other than that, I feel it fits the dungeon, but I don't feel it fits Zip and Wit. That's the problem with the name. I think they should have gone with something a little more, cheery and fun because they are both kind of that way. Like,
Yeah, for me, it's deception. I mean,
mm,
corruption, deception. I mean, yeah, okay, I get it. But right now, it sounds like a bad Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, right? Deception with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like, no, it's they could have gotten to something a bit better. I What I'm just confused is again, which is not surprising because it's coming from Burning Jews, and they just confuse me all the time. But Category 9. I mean, is that a movie reference or is that just they took a name generator and just got Category 9 and took it? I'm confused.
see, I'm not sure where the 9 comes from, and it must be the Hannah side, but Category 9 must refer to a tropical storm because Jader
Jader, then,
is
okay, all right.
the hurricane.
Okay. Let's, okay, yeah. Which again, I get,
And
but is it the right time
I
or like,
like that name if the
hello?
sorry?
Oh, you froze.
Yeah, sorry, I cut for a second. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I cut out there for a second, so I missed what you had said last. And
No, it's okay.
But yeah, I like Category 9 as a name if it's a reference to something, and I hope to get some sort of explanation on it in their promos and stuff. And I'm maybe we just need to see the stories before we decide whether these names fit some characters we don't know that well in general. So
We definitely shall see. Last question. Give me 30 seconds, not more for the answer. In the new teams, is there one that you think has the best chance to have the best chemistry? Who do you think it is in the new teams?
I think it falls between our most anticipated match,
Okay.
and it's either Irwin and Guy or it's Collins and McKee. There's a reason you put in two rookies into a tournament, and there must be something we don't know yet.
I'm saying deception. There's something that might be special here. They really might have found two superstars and a very interesting team. The chemistry, I don't know, from we haven't seen anything right, but in my head, this works surprisingly probably a lot better than most people might anticipate. I'm saying deception for best chemistry and even maybe the dark horse of the tournament.
Yeah, they seem to be set up pretty well, and I mean there's so few teams in this tournament. You just need to get a little bit hot and you'll end up in the finals before you know it. So
Exactly.
this is going to be a lot of fun and so much chaos for the factions that are up at the top vying for that final win.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, this pretty much concludes our Schmoedown night in Canada. Thank you very much for sticking to the end. Now, again, if you're not subscribed, you watch the whole thing, you're still not hasn't subscribed, hey, click that button, notifications, give us a like. Hell, just leave a comment and say how much I need a shave, whatever you want to do, just leave some support. Now, where can they find you, Dan?
I can be found mostly on Twitter at my handle down here at avengers_SOTN, Schmoes of the North, and around our Facebook group, which you should also head on over to and join. The Schmoes of the North, a Schmoedown fan page, where we are less active these days, but are hopefully gearing towards some new things come next season for sure.
Yes, definitely for sure. And also, you can find me on Norton Schmoes on Twitter, the official Schmoes on North Twitter. But also, you can probably hear me at least once or twice a week on my man John's on Movie Lovers United podcast. We talk about movies. We do top 10 lists. It's a very entertaining show. I'm not always on it, but even if I'm not, go take a look, listen to the podcast. It's worth it. All right. So also a little shout out to S-Way, Mr. Schmo, the Schmo Way. So thank you very again for doing all of our art and just giving a bit of your time to help us. We really appreciate it. All right. So that being said, thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye. Say bye.
Oh, sorry.